Hello and welcome. Now, you might have been to Mass and may have seen someone being sent to visit or bring communion to the sick members of the parish. Or at the very least, you may have heard about this ministry through others who may already do it, or perhaps through the parish notices. Now, how does the parish know which members of its community are sick? And when does someone get anointed with the sacrament of the anointing of the sick? Even more so, why do we visit the sick, and are we even bound to this? Well, join me here today with Father Jack as we learn about the ministry to the sick and dying. Hi, Father, welcome.
Thank you. Hi, everyone.
Firstly, what does the Church tell us about suffering and what it can teach us in light of our faith?
It's a good question because suffering can seem a bit meaningless or pointless, perhaps a bit overwhelming. But when, as Christians, when we think about the cross of Jesus, when he took on that suffering, he transformed suffering. So it's not meaningless or pointless or simply overwhelming, but it now has a meaning and a power to it because of that suffering that Jesus took on. And so now all our suffering has this kind of meaning to it and a potential to be powerful when it's united with his. So when we unite our sufferings to his sufferings on the cross, then they take on a meaning and a power that without Christ's suffering, they wouldn't have. So that's what the Church really sees in suffering.
So the Church speaks of visiting the sick as a corporal work of mercy. What does this mean and why is it so important? And more importantly, are we bound to this?
The Church speaks of visiting the sick as a corporal work of mercy. So there's corporal works of mercy and spiritual works of mercy. So spiritual works of mercy are kind of more related directly to our souls, like counseling the doubtful. Okay? And then there's corporal works of mercy that are more directly related to our bodies, care of our bodies. And visiting the sick is one of those. Now, really all Christians should be doing this, but we shouldn't see it as a chore. Okay? So in the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus gives this parable of the sheep and the goats. And he says that the sheep are those who visited the sick and so visited him.
Yeah.
And so they'll receive an eternal reward for that. So we should really think about visiting the sick as this encounter with Jesus, an encounter with Christ, rather than as a chore, but an opportunity for us to encounter Jesus in someone else.
Okay, so when I visit others, this is the means by which they encounter Christ through me.
Yep.
In saying that, how then should I prepare myself when I go and visit the sick?
Well, I think it's important to keep in mind that a lot of the people that we visit who are sick are cut off from their parish.
That's right.
So it's good to bring news of the parish to them. So often taking the parish bulletin is a good idea, but it's also, they're in a vulnerable situation. So it's good to keep an eye out on whether they need some things. Maybe they might need some more healthcare or some food or just maybe a longer chat. So it's good to keep an eye out on those things, but it's always good to bring the parish bulletin with you to keep them connected with the parish.
Yeah, so basically to show that, we care for them personally, but as a community, we're thinking about them and for them to know things that are going in the parish.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And how does one become part of this ministry?
Well, it's pretty easy. Basically, you just start by approaching your parish. So your parish probably already has this ministry, and they might have a coordinator, and they'll be able to clue you in on what to do, where to get training, so the diocese offers training, and then you'll be kind of part of that parish roster. So it's fairly easy, just approach your parish and say that you're willing to take on this ministry.
So what is the sacrament of the anointing of the sick? What does it do and how is this given?
The sacrament of the anointing of the sick is not just for those about to die, though it's good to receive it then, but it's really for anyone who's seriously ill. Okay? And the reason we receive this sacrament is to unite our sufferings with Christ, but also to forgive sins, so that we can carry this burden of the illness with the grace of Christ, and so make of it a really fruitful offering. And so we receive this sacrament from a priest who anoints the head and the palms of the hands with oil, with a specific form of words. So that's how we receive the sacrament.
Okay, so that's really good because I thought that the anointing of the sick was just for those who are on the verge of dying.
No, I think that's a common misconception. I anoint a lot of people who are just about to die, so it can be for that final journey, but it's also for strength and courage for the journey to recovery too. So a lot of people take it and can recover too. So it's for both, those who are close to death and for those who are on the road to recovery.
All right, so how do we know when a person needs to be anointed and what do we do?
So if you're visiting someone who's quite seriously ill and they tell you that they might want this sacrament, then you can approach the parish office and let the priest know that this person would like to receive it. Or perhaps you might ask them if they're getting quite ill, if they would like to receive the sacrament. And again, approach the parish office and speak to the priest and let him know. And then he can come and visit them and give them this anointing of the sick.
So that's really helpful because sometimes they might not think about it, right? So it's good to offer it.
Yeah, sometimes it might come up in conversation. Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, so when you anoint someone and they recover, is that it? Or what if they get ill again? Can they receive the sacrament again?
Yeah, so the church sees there might be a need for repetition of this sacrament. So basically, and there's no limit on the number of times you can receive it.
Yeah.
So when someone's seriously ill, they can receive this sacrament. And if they get worse, they can receive it again. And if they get a new illness, they can receive it again. And there's no limit on the number of times.
Now, often on Sunday Masses, at the end of the Mass, I've seen people being brought forward to bring communion to the sick. Why do they do this, and does this happen straight away?
Yeah, it's a good idea to go straight from Mass to visiting the sick person. And there are a couple of reasons for this. Firstly, it signifies the link between Holy Communion and Mass. Okay, so going straight from Mass to take communion to the sick person signifies that link. But it also signifies the link between this person and the parish. So we go straight from the parish to this person. Because they're isolated from the parish, it's good to signify that and remind them that they're still connected to the parish. So there's two reasons why we go straight from Mass to visiting the sick person with Holy Communion.
So it's like what you said last time about that encounter with Christ, so that link's so strong with Christ and the communion.
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks for that, Father. Well, there you have it, the ministry to the sick and dying. I hope you learned much and have seen the importance of this ministry. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.